Hello and welcome to the Bear Right Trail podcast. It, of course, is Western States Week, and we would not be a trail running podcast if we did not have a Western States preview episode. You can't have a podcast and not do a preview episode of Western States. It's illegal.
Yeah, that's right. It's right, man. I feel like I haven't been maybe locked in as much as I've wanted to, but this whole week is for Broken Arrow, Olympic Valley, through the week with the trail con going on and sort of bookending with Western States. Awesome week, man. Wish I was a little bit more tuned in than I am, but I'm geared up for it. I'm starting to feel the vibes, feel the hype a little bit. So looking forward to chatting a little bit about this and get those get the heart pumping a little bit, the nerves going, and looking forward to getting to our picks here and some other fun categories that you have served up.
Yeah, there's plenty to be hyped about. I mean, on both the women's and men's sides of the Western States start lists, there no lack of firepower on any of those start lines, and so we're going to get into that here in a little bit. But a big East Coast race just happened this past weekend. Talking about Manitou's Revenge. This is it's like 54 mile race that runs through the rugged Catskills up in I believe it starts in Windham, New York. And this is primarily on the Devil's Path. A lot of people will know about that, as well as the Escarpment Trail. These are just really, really rugged trails for the most part. Classic for big rocks, lots of roots. I think sometimes plenty of bees. And it's also usually pretty muggy, and I think that was the case this year as well. I do have a little bit of the results here from that race, and just to kind of go over a little bit. Justin Kowski set the men's course record last year with a blazing 10:24:28. So just for those who don't know, Justin is a extremely, extremely strong runner. Very, very resilient, very mentally tough, and that was like a big time that he put out there, and so a lot of times the finishing times on this 54 mile race.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, you think about there are very few races that are going to have that as the course record. Dan Grip took the win on the men's side this year in 11:09:22, which I think may have him crowned as the king of the Catskills. He has won this race many times. I think he has something like 5 of the top 10 times on the course.
I was just looking at that. Really, really amazing.
Yeah.
His name shows up quite often. But you pointed out the finishing times and the record that Justin Kowski set last year. Yeah, you're looking at like a 53 mile race. 10 hours and 24 minutes. It would not be my first thought as far as like the record time and from that type of runner. So. It's amazing.
And he had, that was in a battle with Ben Quattromoni last year, and so another really, really strong runner. This is a race that brings people back again and again. Justin Lewandowski, Daniel Peterson rounded out the podium there this year, and I just also wanted to congratulate. 2 friends of mine who got finishes in the race. Jay Lemos got another finish up there. A lot of people who know Jay just know how great of a guy he is.
Awesome.
So congratulations to him and Andre Solodsky, a member of my Sam AM Run Club up in Jersey City.
Very cool.
He ground out a really gutsy finish, and just wanted to congratulate both of them.
Awesome.
The women's side, the race was really strong as well. The course record there is a 12:37:04. That's from Ashley Lister, and that dates all the way back to 2014.
Wow.
And I would say that kind of mark is what we would consider like an unbreakable. Like if from Western states, bringing that in here, kind of an unbreakable record, or at least seems that way. Last year, Elizabeth McGurk got the closest that anyone has got to that 12:37 with a 3:15:55, or 13:15:55, right? So still, just it's really up there.
Yeah.
And this year, Erica Libero ran the third fastest time in the history of the race with the 13:20:16.
Wow.
So, and I think the conditions were pretty challenging from what Andre was telling me.
Wow. Yeah, 15,000 feet of climbing in just over 50 miles and rugged climbing. I can imagine not much, some very technical terrain, like muggy, June weather, and I can imagine even in the mountains it was hot last weekend. So that made it very, very difficult. So pretty amazing with that almost 11 flat run by Dan Grip. That's pretty amazing. I wonder what the weather was like last year. I mean, Justin Kowski and Ben Quattromoni, very strong runners, but the weather could certainly play into.
I'd have to look deciding. Into it. I feel like I remember Ben's post about that. At some point, or I had exchanged with him about it at some point, and I think that the heat had played a factor last year as well. And I don't think this year was particularly like a standout. Tough year, kind of not like what World's End was like this year, where it was just like really, really tough. But I think that there were challenges with the conditions. Big shout out to Erica. She's a PA runner. So for taking the win down there, and I think her neighbor, and possibly, I don't know whether they're training partners or not, but Emily Walker, also from Bangor, had a great race. And then there's two other women I want to call out here, with just kind of they're kind of growing. Maybe I'm sure they are already legends in certain running communities. But Cheryl Wheeler, at the age of 62, came through with a 15:44.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that's a hell of a race.
Yeah, I want to say, that's very impressive race.
Wow.
She and another woman, Kara Davis, who took third this year. I think she might be in her late 40s, early 50s.
Late 40s. Wow.
They both have at least like 6-7 finishes, I think, at this race, and are probably always battling each other to have the most finishes.
That's insane.
But Kara Davis is a multi-time winner of the race. But those, just absolutely two crushers there. Just wanted to call out. This is a bucket list race for me for sure. I'm very, very excited to do this one at some point. Just a 15, like you said, 15,000 feet, 50 miles. And we're not talking about, we'll get into this stuff a little bit, but the 50 miler that I think a lot of people saw footage of David Roche running recently, Quad Rock
Yeah, a
50 with
little
like
bit different, a little bit
yeah,
different terrain.
not even, we're not in the same ballpark
No,
whatsoever. Now that had
the
altitude, but yeah,
yeah,
that
this
was,
the
yeah,
Manitou's Revenge is that I mean that's definitely one of those races where regardless whether you're at the front of the pack, the middle of the pack, or the back of the pack, that's that's one of those races where you got to give yourself a pat on the back for just finishing the race. Like
oh
that
yeah,
should be an overarching, like big bold, like one of your goal. Like that should be at least that's an accomplishment is what I'm trying to say.
yeah,
Regardless of what time, it's almost like time. Hey, if you're like a Ben Quattromoni or one of the front runners there, of course you're going to try to vie for a win, right? But man, just finishing that race, applaud, super super impressive for all the finishers there. I
yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
just like
yeah,
incredible just to finish that race. So,
big time for sure.
yeah, that's an interesting one. Sam, you filled me in a little bit more on that race. I've heard of it, didn't know that much about it. So, um,
Yeah,
that's an interesting one.
I think I've come across some people's radar because there was a little bit of publicity about it with the race directorship, I believe, changing
Okay.
hands. The organization of the race had reached out looking for new RD, wanting to advance this race and
Okay.
make it, and so I heard that this year um, they had really stepped up the aid stations. This is like they're trying to advance this race, make it a little bit. I think maybe more professionalized. I guess
Okay. Okay.
they're. I mean, not like putting money like
Hmm.
on like prize money and stuff like that out. I don't think, but I think they're trying to
Yeah.
say like they think they've got a great race here, and they're like, how do we really elevate it? So
Yeah.
hoping that continues to go, hoping it starts to attract more and more people.
Yeah.
Um, they they're getting this free airtime on Bear Right Trail podcast right now. I'm sure it's
I mean,
gonna blow up that registration list.
absolutely.
Um,
They're gonna have to look to see. Well, I don't know. I can't think of anything clever, but it'll do wonders for their for their publicity. No,
yeah,
yeah, really amazing to see that 15,000 feet of gain in 50 miles on the East Coast. That's pretty cool. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah.
So,
So yeah, major congratulations to all the finishers
yep.
this year there, um, and even those who didn't finish but just got out there and got
Oh yeah,
after it. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, I think so. Something we didn't mention, so on the podcast that I've kind of felt bad about.
Hmm.
We'll get to Western States here shortly, but little cleanup here in the
Sure.
meantime. Uh, Ran with another Bear Right Trail teammate today. We sweated it out in Ridley Creek State Park with a nice dip in the end.
Nice.
But good friend Brian, who I believe was his second, fourth place finish at World's End this past year, and his wife uh, had been running her first 100K. Good friend of the podcast here, good friend of all of us.
Hmm.
Was running her first 100K in one of the harder 100Ks I think there is out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
World's End in some of the hardest conditions I think that they've ever had there, and she unfortunately got timed out at the last aid station.
Yeah.
So about, I want to say it's close. It's about 59 miles into a what's billed as a 100K race.
Yeah.
Um, and I, I know that she took that really, really, really hard. It was like
Hmm.
it was a difficult thing. And I think a lot of times on the podcast and things like that, we're talking to elites. We're not, talking about people who aren't seeing cutoffs and things like
Right.
that. Most of the time, the choice to go on is usually our own. Whether
Yeah.
or not it's an injury or fatigue or you're stomach turning or whatever these things are.
Sure.
But someone just telling you, no, your day's done because it was really tough,
Yeah.
really really tough. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping maybe we'll get to talk to her on the podcast, get
Yeah.
that view. But just wanted to, kind of say publicly, just like so proud of that effort,
Absolutely.
of hers, and just like yeah, that's about it, really.
Yeah. No, I think it's something to be said, and just lining up to putting in that training block and this, Sam, this is something that we've all mentioned here, is like at least our group, our Bear Right team here, and we talk about running and the races, and like you said, highlight a lot of the elite runners, and I think, as we should, that's one of the reasons that we have this this pod here, but also highlighting the middle, the back of the pack, and keeping in mind that, like, we have significant others, we have full-time jobs, we have families and kids, and the training and the effort and just like the day-to-day like mental strain, and just being able to continue to train for something, and then being smart enough in your training to show up to a start line healthy, and being able to like show up to World's End 100K, like you said, Sam, one of the most difficult 100Ks, with a historically hot and humid year weather-wise, and the sloppy conditions, and like the mud and the muck, and it's like amazing, huge round of applause for sure. I mean, it's like an incredible effort, and I really really feel for her. Yeah, because that is I think it's it's almost like you she should be so proud that she went through that training block, and showed up to the starting line and put her effort into it. It's like I'm sort of at a loss for words, because it is so impressive, and to have that sort of taken away at the last few miles is like, man, it's tough. It's tough.
Well,
So
yeah, Anita, if you're listening,
yeah,
you made it 40 miles farther than I did on the World's End 100K course. So,
well, and started.
Go.
You know what though? Like, I mean, that's something to be said.
Yeah.
You get to this. You're smart enough in training that you get to the starting line healthy.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I couldn't do. I couldn't get. I was not smart enough to, and that's on me. I was not smart enough to get there healthy. So
Yeah.
that's half the battle. So yeah, big applause for sure. Big applause.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of getting to the start line healthy, I think this is a great way to transition to our Western States 100 coverage. Yes, it is finally here. Live from our houses here in Eastern Pennsylvania. So really the biggest stories of the 2025 edition of Western States has been the attrition. And we got so many contenders out on both the men's and the women's sides of this. It's kind of felt like a moving target, right, to preview this field, because so many notable names back in, or out. But I think that I told you I was going to break some news on here, and so hold on a second here. Yep. So the breaking news that I've got for you here, Chris, is Walmsley is on the start list. We've got Walmsley in the race. Walmsley Watch is back on. And
What, it's like
yes,
Carl Walmsley
I'm talking
from
about
Idaho?
Constantine Walmsley
Oh,
of New
Constantine.
Jersey. That's right. Where is Constantine Walmsley going to finish? We're an East Coast podcast. I don't care about Jim.
Uh,
Let's talk about
Constantine.
Constantine Walmsley.
What a name! First of all, the first name is outstanding. I love it. I mean, I'm gonna be rooting. I'll be rooting for every East Coaster here,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm trying to find him. I can't. I'm trying to find Constantine. I can't quite locate him at the moment, but I'm gonna be pulling for him.
Okay, well, you know what?
I'm
Let
gonna
me
be pulling
let
for
me
him.
pull up the. I'll pull up the all the stuff here.
Okay. So Sam, what are we doing here? Are we gonna highlight the race, some of the favorites? We want to do the favorites, or the top our top picks, sort of to round things out.
Yeah. So really, what I'd like to focus on for the most part are our East Coast runners that
Hmm.
are going to be out there,
Okay.
and we're going to break this down into a couple of different categories, and we can
Okay.
talk about them in different ways. And so we got a lot of racers that were born on the East Coast, lived, throughout their childhood, maybe college years
Hmm.
and beyond on the East Coast, and have since moved out west. So
Yeah.
we have those athletes, and they are numerous, right?
Well, so like I'm looking at like East Coasters from birth through like adolescent, college years, and like you have some of the favorites.
Yeah,
Like
and
you
I'm
have
sure
like
we're missing some
a a,
too.
a, ch-
Yeah.
a chunk. I mean, I'm looking at like one, two, three, four, five. I mean, I'm looking at five of the possible top 10
Are
that
we
were
talking about
born
men or women?
men, just men right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, all right.
Well,
Do you want
yeah.
to? Do you want
So
to? You want to get into these categories, and then we can sort of break that down a little bit, or
yeah. So we have the East Coast born and bred, right?
all right.
We have the don't hassle me, I'm local.
Okay.
These are people who maybe uh, didn't originally live on the East Coast, are
Uh-huh.
here now. Maybe
Hmm.
they're living on the East Coast, do most of their racing on the West Coast. But yeah, there's a little bit of there. I don't know. Don't really know how to claim them. Uh,
Okay.
then we've got Beast Coast hardcore, right? And this means that you live and race a lot on the East Coast, and this is going deep. This is not just
Mm,
I've got a lot of people on here. Um,
mm.
uh, Constantine Walmsley, certainly part of that Beast Coast hardcore
Oh yeah.
contingent, and you know, so this is how I've broken them down, right?
Love it. Okay,
But
let's
this
get
is
into it.
I haven't broken this down actually even into men's and women's.
Okay.
These are combined, and I would like to, because we're not going to do a true preview episode.
Hmm.
I was thinking we talk about like general storylines, like what could the best storyline be,
Yeah.
and from an East Coast perspective, right?
Yep.
And then also, um, uh, this doesn't we don't have to keep this to just East Coast, but one of the things I want um, to consider is what is going to be the most high profile DNF on
Oh.
both the men's and women's side. This is our prediction. I don't
All
want to
right.
predict winners. I want to
All right.
predict,
I like
well,
that.
maybe quitters. I don't know whether we're going to say quitters or like I want to, it's, just, no, I think that, it's so mean, but I think,
Yeah, I feel like though if it's like for like yeah, I feel like if you're dressing an elite athlete as like a quitter, I feel like it's less mean.
well, and also I mean this completely. I have two DNFs to my own name, and
With all due respect.
they weren't ones like mine were wimp DNFs, right? They were ones where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, so
you quit.
I don't have a leg to stand on with any of this. All I'm saying is,
I don't either. We both don't.
I want us to look at this and say, who do you think is gonna throw in the towel at some point, or is gonna run a stupid race, or like who do we think is gonna do this?
No, that makes sense. Yeah. So that's fair. That's fair. Who's the highest profile that we think might? But we can look at this in a rational way too. Like, hey, who's someone who seems to like to take a David Roach like phrase, shoot their shot, right? Because hey, if you shoot your shot and you go for it, you might have a 50-50 chance you're going to nail one or you're going to DNF. So like it makes sense. There's going to be some of those, and some of those runners who take a little bit more risk, chances are that they're going to have a little bit of a higher percentage of DNFing. So that's reasonable. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, and then we can towards the end we can get into our picks, how we think each of these races is going to go, and but yeah, let's just dive right in here.
Start with the women's field.
Well, actually, I was going to start into the categories, right? And
talking
about
categories in the women's field, or are we just going to do it in general?
No, I just have kind of it in general.
All right.
Here, and then let's talk about just talk about them.
Okay. All right.
So on the East Coast, born and bred, I have Riley Brady.
That's got to be That's got to be like because they're so local. That's
PA.
PA.
So we got two PA people on the born and bred, and that'd be Riley Brady and Jeff McGavero. Now these are the ones that I know of. I'm sure we're missing some of people who have moved away, but these are the ones that are kind of high profile that we know of. And then I also have here, of course, Seth Ruling, originally from Tennessee, David Roche, originally from Maryland.
Yep.
And then I also have Bradley Ravinas.
Okay.
And not sure where he's from originally, but he was kind of farther down on here, but also someone who is originally from the East Coast competing out there now.
Would Hans Troyer fall into that category?
Hans Troyer I have on Beast Coast Hardcore.
Oh, okay.
He still claims Georgia as his residence.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
So
right.
so I
like
that's where I have him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Was Tara Dower always a West Coast?
So
coaster?
I've put all right. So we'll get to there. There's a reason I didn't put Tara Dower in East Coast born and bred.
Okay.
I think now here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think Tara Dower has a little bit more East Coast street cred than these runners, right?
I agree.
With doing the Appalachian Trail Project, right? Living out here for a substantial part of also her like elite career, and it's kind of like talks about the East Coast with a lot of passion, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I put her into Beast Coast Hardcore.
Oh, I love it, man.
I know that she's not living on the East Coast now, but that is a pretty recent move.
Yeah.
And the fact that she just set the AT, like, she's got to be Beast Coast Hardcore, right? Like we can't.
Yeah.
We're gonna hold on to her a little bit.
All right. Was there some? So what about Shea Aquilano? Was she not? I thought she was like Ohio or maybe Midwest originally.
I'm not sure.
Maybe Midwest.
I'm not sure. There's, like I said, there's going to be a lot of people here.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm sure that we're missing.
I'm picking through them, but like I do think I remember listening to I think she was on Dylan's podcast. I think she was on Free Trail, and I believe she's like a Midwester. I think she went to Notre Dame, if I remember correctly, and I think she was from that area. She might be a Midwester, but bit of a stretch. But anyway,
so in this crew here, we've got in this East Coast born and bred, we've got on both sides there. We got a lot of the top contenders. I'm sure
absolutely.
people have been listening to different things, and I'm not sure how many. I have not listened to any of the women's preview episodes yet. And I'm going to be interested to see where people are picking Riley Brady. I feel like they didn't get a lot of respect even going into Black Canyon. Even after the Javelina performance, certainly weren't getting a huge amount of respect going into that.
I agree with you.
And it's kind of taken these massive course records and big wins in order to get them professional contract and all this kind of stuff, right? So I wonder where people will be picking Riley.
I think they're in the the top 10 for sure. I think a lot of people will have Riley Brady in the top 5. I think they're all a podium contender for this race.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna. I can't pick against Riley.
No. I would say Riley Brady and Jeff McGavra would be the two that I could see seriously vying for podium finishes.
Yeah, is it going to be at all the Pride of PA? Is that what's going to be? Are we going to have a parade? Are you saying we're going to have a parade?
I think we should,
Eagles style, but for Riley and Jeff McGavra in the Philly suburbs.
I think we should.
New Hope to Springfield.
I don't know where. Riley's a southeastern PA.
Yeah, I won't say Bucks. I think Bucks County. I'm not absolutely sure, but I think. But yeah.
And I think Jeff McGavra was Havertown. Yeah, I think he went to Haverford. So yeah, Delco. Delco goes west.
Delco Steaks.
Delco goes west.
All right.
Dang. I often wish there was a little bit more backstory. I often wish there's a little bit more backstory on some of these runners, and maybe it's because I want to claim them as our own, but nobody knows unless you're none of the community. Everybody, it's nobody knows Jeff McGavra is from Delaware County, Pennsylvania.
The running shops do.
The running shops?
Yeah. There was after Broken Arrow last year, they were talking about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was in my local running shop, and they were like,
"Oh, well, yeah, the local running shops here, in PA, obviously."
Yeah.
But nobody if you took a poll from I don't know, maybe I'm just sour because I think the East Coast should get more cred, But it's oh, where's Jeff McGavra from? No, born and bred Missoula, Montana. He's a western boy. He's grew up in these hills, and man, I'd love to go to Montana. Be great to train there. But no, he's a Delco kid. Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. What's next here, man?
All right. So I've got here the next category is "Don't Hassle Me, I'm Local."
I should review this again.
I don't know what this is. So in here I've got Ryan Montgomery.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Recently moved to New Hampshire, I think within the past year or so.
Yeah. And Ryan could have a pretty darn strong finish here.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, absolutely.
top
They
top top 10 last year? Am I off? No, 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 no,
he
never mind. No,
Where did he get his ticket? This year? Ooh, I don't know.
no.
Um, he
Uh,
would have been either top 10 last year or
no, hold on. Didn't wasn't it like no, it wasn't top 10 last year.
it doesn't really matter how he got in the
Yeah,
race.
whatever.
He's
He's
definitely
in.
a top contender. Um, the other people I have here, I've got Yuichiro Hidaka,
Yeah.
kind of around the New York area.
Okay.
Benjamin Fiandaka and Miki Sawada. Um,
Okay.
I've got them. These are just runners that we just want to kind of call them out because they're not necessarily going to be on people's radar,
Mm,
but when I'm seeing people following the East Coast races
mm,
and the East Coast racers, I'm going to call out these names so people know that they're in the races
yeah.
and to look out for them. Another person I have on here um, is Chris Roberts. Um, People might know his name because he's one of the people who got picked in both the Hard Rock and
Oh,
Western States
nice.
lotteries this year. So Chris Roberts is doing both. I met him at Hellgate 100 last year. He's one of these guys that does that race every year.
Awesome.
Formerly from East Coast, I think now living in the Midwest. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, definitely want people to be following his race at Western States as well as um, at Hard Rock. I believe with Leah Yingling out of that because she was also
Yeah.
picked in both. Um,
Yeah.
he would be the only person that's got the possible double finish this year.
Nice. Very cool. Awesome.
So yeah, so if he
Awesome.
finishes, he will be the fastest person to do that both this year. Um,
Just got to finish.
yeah,
Just got to finish.
yeah,
No, very good. All right. Well, that's great.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Well,
that brings us to Beast Coast Hardcore, and
all
then
right,
after I
man.
go through these, then
All
we can really start to talk
right.
about who we think are going to be contenders
So,
on both sides.
so I gotta call out my boy, East Coast Hardcore, like OG, one of the OG trail runners, like, who not only in southeastern PA, not only Beast Coast, but just in general has like a lot of connections with some of the OG, even like West Coast trail runners, some of the pros. Like this guy's been around years. The first person who taught me how to run downhill, even though I still don't know how to, and that's Derek Schultz.
Oh, I thought you were
I'm
going to say Joshua Finger, and I was going to say, he's not in the race.
You know what? You know what's funny though is Josh and Derek and all like it. All jokes aside, like Josh and Derek are two of the OGs, man. And I'm so happy to see Derek get in this race. Like, dude just grinds, races a ton, trains a ton. Just a really good dude. One of the great guys in the sport. And
Yeah.
man, I'm so hyped for his race. Been following along on his training, and I know he's incredibly excited. Wish him the best getting out there. I think I saw like at least earlier in the week he was running around here, so I don't know when he's going to be flying out to California. Safe travels, get
Mm-hmm.
to the starting line safe, and I'm looking forward to him, having a strong run. He's in good shape. He's run several races so far this year. He's performed well. I know up at Heiner that was sort of like a training run, for him. He was just having fun up there, but he put in some really nice blocks of training, and yeah, I think he's going to have a strong run, man.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm definitely pulling for Derek as well.
Mm-hmm.
And great to see him in there. Another guy,
Mm-hmm.
from right here in our area. Trains on a lot of the trails
Mm-hmm.
that we do, a little bit more over in Wissahickon. But I know you saw Preston Thomas,
Preston. Yeah.
um, also
Yeah.
in Western States, and
Yeah.
going to be following his race really tightly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another one. I first met Preston. I may have talked to him once or twice, ran into him at a race, but I think it must have been 2017. Was able to share some miles with him, and obviously see his name around, and have run into him a couple times, but definitely pulling for him. So, yeah, two guys that you can really get behind. Super local guys here.
Yeah, I've got one more super
Okay.
local that we know.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few people from Philadelphia area that I don't know them
Yeah.
personally, but we've got
Sure.
Jian Shen Tang
Okay.
in the race as well. The absolute legend of Mount Misery.
Mm.
Just the guy will put in 50K on a Saturday, just up and down one trail over and over and over again. The guy's a beast. So
That's awesome.
definitely expect to see him getting it done out there as well.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we got a few from the area going to be out
Heck yeah.
there. Maybe not
Nice.
mixing it up at the front of the race, but certainly making the back of the race a lot more fun for everybody too.
Heck yeah. Heck
Yeah.
yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So a few others I have here. I've got Aaron Saft going to be heading out there. Drew Miller,
Mm-hmm.
Dave Kesterson,
Okay.
David Galloway, Rebecca
Mm-hmm.
Waters, Tim Spalding, Diane Grimm at the
Yeah.
age of 65. She's going to be out there.
Yep.
Um,
Did Diane? She's involved with some of the Pretzel City races, I believe. Am I off? I might be off there, but I think she may be involved in some of the Pretzel City races. So, yeah, pulling for everyone.
yeah.
Gonna be fun to follow.
Yeah, a few more names to get through here. Jessica Samau, Daniel Oakes, Eric Thompson, Clint Langley, also up there in his 60s, 63 years old. He's going to be out there.
Nice.
Joseph Na, Laney Barris, Don Knight, Kristen Jan Bejic. I believe Bejic is up in that sort of like Connecticut group.
Okay.
Abby McCarthy, Tim Gornchanaz, Nicholas Hill, Laura Spake, and Patrick McCannany. So as well as, of course,
easy for you to say.
yeah, not really. And
Well,
of
better
course,
you than me.
do not forget and don't sleep on Constantine Walmsley.
I was just gonna bring him up again. I saw his name. I, I love it, man. I absolutely love it. The
Going to be on
Walmsley's
Walmsley
in.
Watch. Walmsley
Heck
Watch.
yeah, man.
I
Who's this
believe-
guy out front?
Yeah,
That's Walmsley.
yeah.
Be great,
Walmsley
man.
Watch.
Walmsley Watch. Love it.
So yeah, those are the ones I didn't mention there. Of course, also part of the East Coast Hardcore are Hans Troyer,
Mhm.
Dan Green,
Yeah,
and
man.
Tara Dower.
Yeah.
Also
Yeah,
part of
yeah,
the
yeah.
East Coast Hardcore,
Yeah.
and some of our best hopes for top tens, for podiums, things like that. So if we're considering all of our categories of East Coast runners here, we're not looking for winner picks here. What I'm looking
Mhm.
for is East Coast top performers in the men's and women's field.
Okay.
So who do you think
Okie dokie.
on the women's field is
Mhm.
going to be the top performer with East Coast roots?
Riley Brady. I mean, they're just so fit. I mean, I've been following their training like super closely, but from what I've heard at the Western States training camp, Riley Brady was in amazing fitness, and I'll pick Riley Brady. I think it's like almost. I mean, Tara Dower is like, it's very difficult to. I'm not picking against Tara Dower, but out of the two, I would say, I would have to say Riley Brady.
Yeah, it's I I think I'm going to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't argue the point the other way. Um, I
Like,
I think they've
dude.
got a very good chance at going 1-2 in this race.
Oh yeah.
Um, and
So
so picking against Tara Dower for the top East Coast honors isn't putting her back at all.
no,
I have a
no,
feeling
gosh, no.
they're both going to be in my top three
Yeah.
for my picks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I
Yeah, I
already said, I'm
agree.
putting Riley one. But yeah,
Dude,
I think she
was it
they take home top performance.
was it Dylan Bowman on like one of the podcasts, and I don't like I said I wish I was a little bit more locked in. I think he mentioned that like Andrew Bumbleow, because Riley Brady signed with Nike,
Mm-hmm.
and is like Andrew Bumbleow still involved with Nike in some capacity, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And it might have been at like Western States training camp, and they were running together, and Riley like pulled away from Bumbleow, and like Bumblow's still obviously he's still in really good shape, and
Bumbleow did or at least started Black Canyon this past year, right?
I forget what race he started.
I think it was Black
I
Canyon.
think it was Black Canyon, but he was like, whoa, like they're in peak
Bam, bam,
performance
bam.
shape.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
And
so
Riley's so like on the film,
mhm,
so fun to watch run.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I'm not a big fan of watching the aid stations
yeah,
like and their like transitions. I know some people find that stuff exciting, but I
yeah,
would rather, for me, for the most part, I want to see the camera out on course.
hmm,
I want to see them moving through
yeah,
and how they're moving. And I think it is probably, you know, all kinds of different things. But Riley seems to really stay over the feet like so well and
hmm,
always pushing back no matter how
hmm,
what and how much like how late in the race it is and just really um yeah like the springiness just
hmm,
pop like
hmm,
so fun to watch.
yeah,
And um I was talking with Will Murray a
yeah,
couple of days ago,
yeah,
and talking about the back half of that Black Canyon course, and watching Riley on that film last or this past
hmm,
year, it's just like, how are they moving like this?
yeah,
This terrain, it just kind of eats at
hmm,
you, and especially when you're getting tired and stuff. I was really
yeah,
really impressed. So I'm excited.
awesome.
I'm hoping the live stream is good. I'm hoping we got clear pictures because I
Be locked,
want to
man.
watch Riley running.
I'll be
Yeah,
locked.
yeah.
All right.
So that's
Well, how
yeah.
about
We're both spot on there with our picks for the women's side.
yup.
So on the men's side, um, top East Coast performance. Do you want
So
me to lay out the contenders here a little bit? And while you're thinking,
uh yeah, I mean, sure.
all right.
I mean,
So
I'm Hans and Dan Green are
yeah,
go
so
ahead. Go ahead.
We got Hans, Dan Green, David Roche, Jeff McGavero. Hey, if you want to pull in some other people here, you go for it.
No, hold on.
You
Did you
want to
Dave
consider
Roche?
Ryan Montgomery.
David Roche, is he in? He's in? Are you lumping him in?
Yeah,
Did
on
you
the full East Coast
All right.
connections. East Coast
Okay.
connections. David Roche. Yeah, I mean, he's from Maryland.
No, I love it.
He holds the Strava crown on Mount Misery.
Yeah,
This is our training ground. He's got East Coast roots, man.
Who's gonna take that down?
His mother-in-law lives like 15 minutes away from here. Come on.
Okay. Who's gonna take that? Who's gonna take that Strava crown down?
I've been trying, man. I can't do it.
Rob,
I've got like 10 seconds. 10 seconds or something like it. Was it? I think I'm 10 or 15 seconds to go, and
right. There's still time,
which is a lot on a 4-minute segment.
All right. This is tough. Okay, so this is tough. I trust Riley, Brady, and Tara Dower. Like, I trust that they're going to run the race that I think they're going to run. Does that make sense? That might not make sense. But I trust
you're
them
going to be
run a
real
smart
surprised
race.
if they're outside of the top 5.
Yeah.
You're going to be like,
Yes.
like, what happened?
Right, where within the men's race, as it usually is, there's a bunch of there's some egos involved, and there's going to be more than one elite that's going to blow up, have some issues, get a little bit out over their skis, and I would say that the safest pick for me would be Dan Green. Because I just think he's
on the top performer from the East Coast.
Safest. Do I think that he's going to come out as the top performer? I don't necessarily think I do. But I think there's no way that Roche is holding back. I think there's no way that Hans Troyer is holding back. Is Seth Roling in that group?
Yeah, Seth Roling would be in that group too. Yeah, I forgot to.
I do think that Seth Roling is going to start out more on the conservative side. Top 20, but I think he's going to start out maybe a little bit more conservative because I think this race is going to go out hot. So I would say either Dan Green or Seth Roling would be the safest pick.
Really?
But I think I wouldn't be. I'll put it this way. I wouldn't be surprised if David Roche wins the race. I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if Hans Troyer got top 3. It wouldn't surprise me. Like I think he's that talented. But I think that Seth Roling, even though it's his first 100-miler, I think he's smart with racing in the heat, and I think Dan Green's ready. I think they're safer.
So you think that Seth Roling, someone who has never run 100 miles, is the safe bet for your top East Coast?
Safer. Well, no. Hold on. Safer.
Has Hans run 100 miles?
Nope.
So you're going. So yeah, okay. Well, you were thinking he's going to go out. So
no, he's gonna go out fast. Dave Roche is gonna go out fast. Like those two guys, they could nail it, but they could also blow up.
Yeah.
I just don't think that. I think that Seth Roling is going to run smart, and I think that Dan Green's going to run smart. Man. But Jeff McGavro too. Shoot, there's so many guys in this race that I'm like, I don't really know. I mean, I think there's so many guys in this race that I would say I might have the most trust in Jeff McGavro to go out faster and keep it. But then it's then I go down the list. And I'm like, oh, how about this guy? I'm like, well, what about this guy? You know? So unpacking just the East Coast born runners is incredibly difficult. Let alone trying to break down the entire field.
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna
don't know,
tell you,
man.
I have we feel a little bit differently about Seth. I have him
Okay.
picked in a different category.
The
That
epic.
we'll get to a little bit later.
All right. Okay.
Uh,
Sorry. I
but
won't break.
but
All right.
so I like where you're going with Dan Green. I think a
Hmm.
lot of people expect a really smart, really well executed race from Dan Green,
Hmm.
right? That's uh, some of the chatter that I've heard, and I don't know how you could have a different takeaway if you watched the piece that his team did about Cocodona. I mean,
Yeah.
just with how he executed in that race,
Hmm.
um, you're going to just expect him to be clockwork, focused, and just really on top of it. So, but with that and having a 250 miler in his legs, I'm going to be putting Dan, uh, also Ryan Montgomery. These are the guys that I'm looking at, sort of battling out, sort of the back of that top 10.
Yeah.
You know, I expect that Hans Troyer is probably going to be back in that area as well. Um, just that's just kind of I don't I think Hans Troyer is a really exciting young runner. Um, I'm not sure if he's quite at the chops of um taking down a race like this, you know. um, and I do think that some of the guys with East Coast roots do have those kind of chops to win a race like Western States, and I would put the two guys I'd be thinking about with that uh, as David Roche and Jeff McGavero.
Hmm.
Those are the guys I'd be considering. I think sometimes I wonder, like I go back and forth with David
Hmm.
about like whether or not we think that sometimes like I think people discount David Roche because of his platform. Like they like, oh well, he's just noisier
Hmm.
than everybody else, or you know, uh, he doesn't, or maybe like he hasn't raced really deep fields. Like it's not like, um, he won CCC or something like that.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of criticism that goes around about that. But then there's
Yeah.
also this like wondering, it's like, does he get more attention because he's putting out videos and because he's outspoken about this type of training or that type of training? Um, and like just sort of, so we hear this narrative of like how mentally tough he is or this kind of coming from him. So we just don't hear that from other runners.
Hmm.
Like I don't hear about how mentally tough Jeff McGavero is. I'm sure he
Yeah.
is, but
Yeah.
I don't, it's not like something where I turn on a podcast and, it's being talked about. So I
Yeah.
sometimes I wonder, it's like, and I guess this race might prove it out in some way of like whether or not um that's it's probably not all hype, but you know what I mean, like, or like how much that's going to stand up, like how, and it might not prove anything or not, but in any case, I wonder when I'm making my picks, I'm like,
No,
am I
it
discounting
makes
him? Am I
sense.
overvaluing? Like, I don't know. And um
Yeah,
yeah, we'll
I
see.
think I think it's interesting that you said that. It's like he's polarizing. I mean, he's the most polarizing ultra runner in the space. He's the most polarizing
Except
trail
for
runner,
maybe
at least.
Sage Candidate.
Maybe, maybe. No, but I mean, he is right. Like you either generally you either like him or you dislike him. You like his content, you dislike him. You
Or
think he's
both.
or both. Or
Yeah.
both. Yeah, or he's like, you think he's being disingenuous or he's honest and forthcoming. I think that when you get to that point, when you get to this point, um this stage, to get to this stage, I should say, to be touted as an elite athlete, to be sponsored, I think you have to have a level of, mental strength. So I think I think all of these elites in this field might have, if you're looking at it as like an energy bar out of like 100, or like a Madden, the Madden, like football game, right? Like ranking, like these guys, like their mental like fortitude is between like 95 and 100. It's like the difference between one or two of these guys might be like a percentage point. It's just highlighted a little bit more when you put your content out, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'm sure that Jeff McGavro is. The one thing I do know about Jeff McGavro is he's very, very prepared and calculated. Like, he is a spreadsheet guy. But as far as like that mental, the mental strength, all of these guys have it. It's just who is maybe a little bit sharper on that day, or who is fine tuning that skill. And that's what makes it so fascinating, is like these guys are all absolute like beasts. These guys are all locked, man. And it's very, very difficult just from like social media content to tell who might have that edge. You just don't know it. You just don't know it just because they're not putting it out there for people to see. So yeah, man, it's an interesting sort of thing to ruminate over, and it'll be fun to see how things shake out.
Yeah, so I guess I got to give my pick, right, for my top performer.
You have to.
Mine is Jeff McGavro.
Yeah, that's a smart one. Honestly, it's a smart pick.
And I have, I guess my thoughts are, as I think that's, I think he's primed and ready. It also might be like a little bit clouded by that's who I want to see. Yeah. Do really well. And so I'm very excited for that. But I may, like, outside of that, I would say it's either Jeff McGavro or Walmsley. Comma Constantine. Yeah.
Hey, man. He could turn some heads.
Yep.
He could surprise some people.
I
think he will.
You can't sleep on Walmsley.
Can't sleep on Walmsley. Nope.
Yeah, so anyway, we've crossed the hour threshold here. So we've got to get into, before we get into before we get into our final picks, right? Across the whole board here. I do want to go into that category of most high profile DNF. Men's and women's field. Who do you think is going to be the most high profile DNF, and when do you see it happening?
Like I look at like the female field, and it's harder for me to pick that, because I think there's more. I think there's going to be, overall, I think the top female runners are going to run a smarter race and take less chances, especially because there's not. Fuzhou is back, right, as the top finisher from last year's field. But from what I don't know much about her, but I understand she's obviously a very talented runner, but a smart runner. So is but there's not a Katie, there's not a Courtney. So I guess similar to the men's field, but maybe not quite as, like Jim Walmsley on the men's field, not quite the front runner that, let's just say, Katie or Courtney would be if they were in the race on the female side.
Yeah, with the overwhelming odds on favor.
Overwhelming odds, right. So it's very, very tough very tough for me to say. I mean, maybe Fu Zhao would be the most. I think she's she's the favorite, but like I don't
That's
really
your
know
pick.
what to
You
say.
think you're picking her for a DNF?
Well, but no, I'm not picking her for a DNF. I'm saying that would be the most. That would be
No,
the most surprising DNF. Is that what this category is?
no, it is.
No? Or who do I
It,
think is actually?
who do
I
you think is going to who's your your this is what I'm saying. Not like
who's going to be the most reckless?
who like if you're like
Who's
you're
going to
looking at the
fail?
start list and you're like, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they DNF. They're going to be like the most, but they would be like the most high profile. So I'll lead by giving mine.
Well,
So
I do have one.
Oh, you have?
I do have one. Let me try to redeem myself.
All right.
I think it would be not super high profile, but I think maybe like Heather Jackson. I think Heather Jackson has nothing to lose, so I think she's going to go out as she normally does. But
Heather Jackson's my pick too, man.
we
both. Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, so she just did like some massive bike races, right?
Yeah,
like
I
these
did hear
like
that.
real big bike races.
Yeah.
I think that she's like I don't think she has anything to prove. I think she's doing too much this year. I think it's just going to be out there. She's going to be like, what am I doing? I'm projecting. We're roughly the same age, Heather Jackson and I. So I think kind of like this. The feels on her, like that's where I would be. So nothing.
Right.
She's such a killer. I mean, she just has. I don't like. In some ways, it's like people like Heather Jackson kind of amaze me in this. Mm-hmm. That like she's like done everything, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like,
I know.
She's done everything, like all the hardest things, and keeps doing it at such a high level. It's incredible. But yeah, I think she would be my pick.
What a category!
High profile.
What a category! What a category this is.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't you go for the men here? Because I don't want to steal your thunder.
Well, I hinted at it already. So I'm going to be like I don't know that I'm going to be allowed to like listen to the Boulder Boys after this. I'll probably be blackballed on it.
But I think you might actually be onto something though. Like, because I'm looking at this list and finish your thought. I don't want to cut you off here, but
my pick is Seth Ruling for my most high profile DNF. It's up, it's tricky because there's more men that I think are going to DNF than women.
Well, me too.
Me too. And so
yeah, me too.
And one that is like that I'm like, oh man, this guy's getting way too much shine. Like I have a feeling, he's going to have a rough day. Is Caleb Olson. M5 from last year, but like you've got single track basically just saying this guy's going to win the whole thing. Yeah. And, which, look, they're supporting their boy, but, I'm like, I kind of feel for him, like getting all those picks, and like feeling that like added pressure. So, my, all I know of Caleb Olson was, about like, I want to say like 10 miles from the finish of Grindstone 100. And he was doing the Grindstone 100K, getting his golden ticket last year. But just like ripping past me down a downhill while I was just like absolutely fried. So that's all I've ever seen of Caleb Olson. He seemed fit then, Yeah. I don't want to like knock him down or anything like that. But that's where that's what my pick is definitely Seth Ruling.
Seth Ruling.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny after like going through everything, like it. I see. I think Seth Ruling like uses the like. I think. I think he sort of sandbags it a little bit before races as a way to sort of self preserve in case he does like have a bad race. I think he downplays how
Yeah.
confident he's going to into races because he's like, yeah, sometimes I get like he gets like he loses focus like after a certain amount of time on the trails. Like I think he's got like I think people use that against him when they're picking. That he's
Mm.
a phenomenal runner. Like I think everybody can agree that he's just a really talented runner. He's fast. He
Yeah.
floats. But I also think he's got an edge that I think he has an edge, and I think he has like a grinding mentality that maybe doesn't come is not as visible, right? I mean, he has some DNFs, and he's like been vocal about it, like,
Yeah.
but I don't know. But with
Yeah.
that said, Seth Ruling might be my pick too, actually.
Yeah, so you're your top contender earlier. So
Well, but he might
let's
be.
pull out a few other ones that would be like big high profile DNFs, right? So one that I think people would be bringing up would be David Roche, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a guy who uh I would think like if you were going to have a DNF,
Hmm.
uh I would say I would say the three that would be, or the two that would be the biggest would clearly be David Roche and Killian, right?
Yeah.
Like if either of those guys DNF, it like, especially if Killian DNFs, it really like changes. I think just like
Hmm.
the whole talking narrative around everything. David
Hmm.
Roche's, I think, is just more the amount, like maybe not from the media side, but like from the social media side and people
Yeah.
following the race, that would be like the biggest impact. Um, and then I think another one that would be like super high pressure, and so like why I would consider this person as like maybe my number two pick for it would be
Hmm.
Rod Favard.
I thought about Rod too.
Um,
See, I could see Rod
this is such a mean
here.
segment. This
It
is
is a
like
mean segment. It's okay, but I could see Rod if Rod fades. I think he would only. I think he would only DNF if he was like injured or in serious trouble, like physically, like health wise. I think if he fades, he's still going to finish. Where I think there's other runners that if they fade, they'll pull the plug. I don't think he'll do that.
yeah.
I just don't get that feeling.
I just wonder like what the mental pressure of the return, like the amount,
Hmm.
and this is why this came up. It's nothing about Rod, you
Hmm.
know, at all, because and really there's not there's like I said, none of this comes with any judgment whatsoever. But I just like
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of pressure on him, you know, like or that
Hmm.
he feels this pressure from the idea of like I'm the top returner, right?
Hmm.
I pushed the race to the brink last year, right?
Yeah.
I pushed the king all the way,
Hmm.
and I feel like if it were me, I guess if it were me, I'd feel a lot of pressure to relive that and to like get those
Hmm.
things, like get uh I don't know, like some
Hmm.
sort of second guessing stuff like that would happen during
Yeah.
the race. I think it's
Sure.
hard. It's like what they talk about with like losing the Super Bowl, right? It's hard to get
Yeah.
back or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like a lot of quarterbacks, like if they lose their first Super Bowl, never get back,
Hmm.
or like I
Yeah.
don't know, all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
So anyway, uh, that's one of the like the concern I would have for Rod is just like if things really do start to go sideways at some point,
Hmm.
um, you know, what happens for him. But chances
Yeah.
are what is going to take somebody out of the highest profile DNF is going to be, something happening that isn't that,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
something, it's not a mental, a
Yeah.
mental breakdown or whatever. It's going to be
Yeah.
something else. But
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it was, I don't know why I made such a mean segment. Um, well, let's get
That's a
off of
talking point.
get off of the
All right.
DNF things and into the real top picks,
Hmm.
for the races here. Back to the women's field there. We spent plenty of
Hmm.
time on the men there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but on the women's field,
Yep.
overall field, they don't have to be East Coasters. I'm gonna let you choose whoever you
Hmm.
want here. Um,
So, um, I have no reason to pick against uh, Fuzhou, Jiang, in third. Are we gonna do top three?
Yeah, you can do top three, but
Okay.
you can talk about people outside of it. But yeah,
Okay. So I think Fuzhou is gonna have another strong race. I have no reason to like not believe that. So, um, I think she's gonna be top five. Um, I feel like Emily Hallgood is sort of primed for a good race here.
mm-hmm.
I could see her podium. Seeing her getting on the podium. And then man, like I can't pick against like Tara Dower and Riley Brady. I think those are gonna be sort of your top few. Abby Hall's running well too. So um, actually just one other. I'm like I have a list and then I look on Ultra Sign Up and then I see someone else and I'm like, oh, what about that person? Like Esther Sealag is has run very well at Western States. I think she's the third. Is she the third returning?
Esther.
Third place returning. Yeah, returner.
Yeah, she's F3.
Returning.
Yep.
Um. So I don't know how her training. Like I haven't. I don't know specifically how her training's been going, but I think those are five. I think those are going to be the top 5 or 6. Um. Yeah. What do
Yeah.
you What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not betting against Riley. I'm putting Riley at the top.
Hmm.
I think Fuzhou's getting another second, but I
Hmm.
definitely could be wrong about that. I mean, I could, you know,
Yeah.
it, remember watching her race last year. She was really really running strong at the
Yeah.
end of that race as well.
Hmm.
Um, really really impressive.
Hmm.
So I would say my top three are uh, Riley Brady, Fu Zhaojiang, and Tara Dower.
Hmm.
Um, that's that's what I'm picking. Um,
Hmm.
and look, I there are Emily Hawgood, Marianne Hogan, also
Yeah,
could be right
Marianne
up
Hogan.
there.
Sure.
Hannah Allgood has run
Hmm.
extremely well, and I think it's crazy that I'm saying like Esther Chillag, F3 from last year. I'm not necessarily uh, expecting to like see the same race from
Yeah.
her,
Yeah.
but she's getting older,
Hmm.
and just like with Heather Jackson, I mean, they're up an age category,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and uh, and so it's we slow down. It just
Yeah.
happens, right?
Yeah.
So as far as I would say I'm expecting Emily Hallgood to have a really good race. I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised if she supplants one or all of those women that I've
Yeah.
selected
Yeah.
up there. I expect I expect good races from Shea Alcalano.
Hmm.
I think Aaron Clark is also going to have a good
Yeah.
day. I'm when we get into our other picks, I'll talk about
Hmm.
that as well. But
Yeah.
I think Aaron Clark will have a good day. Um, you know, I'm not going to be surprised, by any of the sort of like top 15
Hmm.
or 20 women in consideration, uh, having really good days.
Yeah.
But I do think we're going to see, as like as we're going to be crowning a new champion on the women's side. I guess I don't expect a lot of surprises
Hmm.
on the
Yeah.
women's
No,
side. I think you've got so many really
I agree with
accomplished
that.
women here, that are coming in really strong. That like maybe you're going to have somebody a surprise in the top 10, but I think
Hmm.
that top 10 is just so very experienced that
Yeah.
they're gonna get it done.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's kind of my take on that field.
Yeah. Yeah.
And over the men.
All right. All righty. Well, there is a name who I think is just flies under the radar, is right there in front of you. We haven't mentioned him, I don't think, once.
Okay, so it's
And
definitely not Constantine Walmsley.
it's definitely not Constantine Walmsley, although I do have him in my top three. So we're going to circle back to his name. No, a guy who's been running really strong and who has a cougar, and that's Adam Peterman. I
Ah,
think I think he is just like a low key savage, man. I think he's another guy that like people discount just because he's so low key. He's just like he's not he's a likable guy. He's not bold. He's not loud. He's reserved. He was injured, and it's like he was battling injury for a year and a half, and people sort of forgot about him.
yeah,
And I'm like, this was like the guy to battle Walmsley, and then he quietly is healthy, and apparently has uh, obviously he put on that performance at Gorge, and apparently has just springboarded into amazing fitness. Trains with Jeff McGavro. I mean, like, dude, I can't imagine like those. Like, I mean, we know of like obviously the Boulder boys are like phenomenal, right? The Salt Lake City, the Oregon crew, where there's different like pockets of the West Virginia guys. Like, there's different pockets of really strong runners, but like, man, that like Missoula crew is like often underlooked just because they might not have like the amount of talent. But Aaron Clark on like the women's side, and Adam Peterman and Jeff McGavro on the men's side, like, dude, those guys just fly under the radar. And like,
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me if Adam Peterman and Jeff McGavro podium. Like, it would not surprise me. I think if they both run smart races and they're both smart runners, I think they're both top 10. I think for sure. I have them top 10 locks. And it wouldn't surprise me if those guys both podiumed. I think Peterman just is crazy as it sounds. I think he surprises people and wins this race. I've got Peterman winning.
you got Peterman winning. That's
Yep.
that's all. I mean, I I don't,
Hmm.
but
Most people don't,
I respect
I
what
would
you're
imagine.
saying. Um, I do have Adam Peterman on my podium,
Okay.
so it's not like I'm completely off with you on this
Yeah.
one. But uh, I agree with you.
Okay.
We're going to have a two-time champion at the end of this race. I just think his name is Kilian Jornet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or this is like so my podium, probably similar to your podium, right? But my podium is Kilian, Jeff, Adam. Right. That's where I have my podium right now. But I could see it going the other way. I could see it going completely, completely swap that. And the storyline is on the unbreakable anniversary, Kilian gets third again.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't that be nuts? I mean, like that's very possible.
Yeah. So
does he get like hunted down at the end and or does it play out the same?
No, it definitely would not play out the same. He's not getting third with that same time.
Well, not the same time, but the same him getting past, like, well, I guess
he's not getting third with his winning time. He's not. Yeah.
No.
But
no, but I mean, yeah. You know what I'm saying. Jeff Rose came from behind, and
I have to. So the thing that I was listening to, man, our episode's getting long, but I listened to the single track men's preview, and I don't often really agree with Jeff Colt on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But when he was talking about Adam and Jeff, it was exactly what I had been thinking. I was like, these guys have this training group. They've got this energy. It seems like they've got this like sneaky momentum right now. And I think it's, we all know each other out there, right? But if you truly have like a friend out there on course with you that like you guys know that you have the potential of running within like a couple of minutes of each other.
Yeah.
Right? Like, or whatever, like basically you're both at that, you truly have a friend out there with you on the race. Like that's something different.
It is for
which
sure.
I don't think many people are going to have their like 100, their training partner, their buddy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Out there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I mean, I'm not saying like they're going to be waiting for each other and doing all this kind of stuff or whatever. Yeah. But like they probably don't have to.
No, they don't have to. Like if one surges, or there's the confidence of being, it's like the comfort. It's you're comfortable.
Yeah.
You can relax a little bit because you know that person, and you know that it's just that it's just a comfort factor, which is like there's really not much like it. It's hard to explain, but I agree with you. I'll be honest, I don't know where to put Kilian. I can break down the entire men's field. I don't know what to do with Kilian.
Is it because of his ascent finish?
No, I don't. I think that was a little bit too. I mean, people are looking too far into that. I just don't know. I don't know. It's almost like, he should be in my podium because it's Kilian. Like he should be. That's where he should be. But I just don't know, and I don't really have a great answer for why. I think I have a feel for the other runners. I don't have a feel for where I should put Kilian.
Yeah, I think that when they're talking about like which people are great racers, they're talking about, or people are talking about Adam Peterman as being like a great racer.
Yeah,
and Kilian is a great racer.
Yeah,
we've if you've watched him at Zagama, or you've watched him at Sierra Zinal, or watched him at UTMB and watched his descending at the end of that freaking race.
Yeah.
Like it's like how does this guy do this?
Yeah, I know.
And I understand it's not going to be steep like that, but the ability to have those kind of legs,
Yeah.
late in a race after all that pounding, I think that's where I see Killian's going to have this advantage, is like after all that downhill pounding,
Mm-hmm.
he's just going to be,
he's going to float.
It's not going to matter to him.
Yeah.
It's not going to, I think that guy probably takes so much less impact coming down a mountain than like anybody else in the field does. And I don't know how much you can really like discount or like account for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not, dear friend Brian Wiest, amazing descender. He's not descending like Killian. He's taking an impact.
Yeah.
Coming down this, like you watch Killian come down, it's like his legs are not taking an impact. It's almost looks like it's level, like he's just
Yeah. Killian.
Killian. Making love to the mountain. Yeah. So that's what that's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, listen, I don't know. I'm just excited. I'm hyped now. Can't wait to live stream this thing and lock in as much as I can on Saturday, because it's going to be fun, man. It's like this is the best live stream event, and obviously, I mean, I would say between this and UTMB is great, but for me, Western States just is on a different level.
I like UTMB, but their live stream product is nowhere near as good as the American products.
Mm-mm.
I mean, maybe the race day product is great, but like they said, or people will talk about, there's like video of people just cutting cheese, for like an hour,
Yeah, exactly.
Like while some Debo is trying to I'm trying to get him to change the camera. I don't know what to tell you guys,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
there's gonna be no cheese cutting at this Western States. There's no cheese and meats.
Yeah,
no crudité and
get your canyon
appetizers.
Cheese. Yeah. Sorry, it's getting a little. It's got a little sweat. It's a little. Hold on to your canyon cheese. It's like.
Oh man.
Oh dude.
This is the great American race here, Sam.
Exactly. Well, dude, we gotta sign off here.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
All right.
Sure, everybody is excited for Western States.
Yeah.
For more, and also for us to stop talking about Western trail racing and get back to the East Coast stuff that we all know and love.
We will.
All right, man. Well, I'm hoping to have you healthy here soon so we can go for a run.
Me too. All right, buddy. Well,
all right. Yep. Well, thanks everybody for listening. If you're here now, you might as well just take the time and subscribe. Leave a review. Also, email us, do whatever. And let us know what you think. I got a text earlier today from a listener. Really made my day. Also, a comment from a friend just let me know that happy about what we're doing here, think we're doing a good job. So those really mean a lot. So reach out, let us know, leave a review, do all those kinds of things, and we'll do our best to keep this ad free. Okay, we'll do our best. We'll see.
It'll be difficult.
We'll see. Though it's hard. They're knocking down the door. But from Chris and I, thank you very much for listening, and happy trails.
Thanks, guys.